Welcome in to episode number 7-0 as we are on the cusp of the college football season, just 7 Saturdays away from kicking off the 2024-25 college football season. We went over ACC totals the last 2 weeks. We're going over the Big 12 this week. We've got Big 10 on the horizon, SEC, and others to close out the rest of this summer. Once again, joining me as usual is friend and co-host Zach Huffman. Zach, how we doing on this Be Happy Saturday?
Fantastic. Trump just got shot. That was fun.
Yeah, we're cooked. He's gonna be our next president. We're cooked.
Yes, sir.
We're cooked. Yeah, I think the sound of that gunshot probably would have been enough to keel Biden over, but oh well. I guess the shooter was either Bronny James or Klay Thompson, because you missed. You went 1 for 8.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's your political jargon for the day. But look, man. Like I said, 7 Saturdays away. We're almost there. Go ahead and just.
More importantly, we're 2 days away from NCAA 25.
Yes, we are so close. We're able to officially load up the game at 3 o'clock on Monday. I'll be at work, unfortunately, but when I get home,
yeah, me too. Until 5.
Firing it up. Yep. So I'm gonna be home at like 6 o'clock. So we'll probably start off with some team builder stuff, and then really jump into it on Tuesday. I have the rest of the week off after Monday because this is a national holiday for me. So we will be ruthlessly streaming on Twitch, and we will be live. Look, man, coming into this season, what are your thoughts really on the Big 12 conference as a whole before we jump into individual teams here?
That they better go and get someone big before they collapse. And now the rumors are that they might get Florida State or Clemson to come from the ACC over to the Big 12. So, I kind of like what they're doing. They have a lot of really good teams already in the Big 12, a lot of hype, especially with Colorado coming in. But Florida State and Clemson, you get them from the ACC, and then you got a real conference.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. The other rumor has been maybe the SEC reaches out and grabs them, and then you have the SEC and Big 10 with 18 teams apiece, which I think that would make the SEC probably the toughest conference in the country, bar none, to have them in there. So I think the Big 12 is probably, like you said, the most likely landing spot where you can promise them one thing, and one thing for certain, you're going to win a lot of games if you're those two teams. And so if you want a shot at getting in that 12 team, that's probably the better odds of getting in. So they'll probably venture out over there. I wouldn't be too surprised. So that's, like you said, need a big heavy hitter, and they don't really have that right now. I would say Oklahoma State's probably the most talented team out of the 12 teams. A lot of people are hyping up Colorado. A lot of people like Arizona. I think that Kansas State's also been thrown out there. All 4 of those teams probably are going to be vying for the top spot in the conference. Is that kind of what your same feeling is?
Yeah, them. I think Utah's still going to be good.
That's right. I knew I was forgetting somebody.
Yeah. I think Iowa State could be good.
Yeah, it depends on how good Rocco is, right? I love Rocco. Great name, football name. Looked good last season at times, but I just think that as a team, Iowa State struggles. I think he's really good. I just don't know if the rest of the team is up to par to help him look good as a total package up there in Ames. So, it's I think you were right, though. They're probably the dark horse, right? I think that's probably.
I really like Kansas.
Jaden Daniels, good quarterback. It's the defense for Kansas that worries me.
I'm gonna. We'll talk about him.
Yeah, we'll get into it. So we're gonna go over the first half here in episode 70. Here we're gonna start out alphabetically here. Last list wasn't alphabetical; it was from most. It was from most possible wins to least. This one is alphabetical, so you're gonna get those highs and lows here. We're gonna start off with Arizona here. We're going off of CBS Sports this week, a different website than last time as well. So we'll try to be more consistent with probably using this from now on. I don't think this article was out at the time. I think it just dropped. Right? Is that true? It just came out. Oh,
Came
June
out
June
a couple
June
weeks ago.
26th. Okay, so we could have been using this, but we didn't. We didn't. So I mean, it's we're kind of jostling in between two sources here, but we'll try to stick with this one through the rest of the way. Zach was very kind of sharing the link with me. Let's start with Arizona, right? Wildcats looking good. Fafita, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, a Heisman candidate probably by the end of the season if he can stay healthy. They've got the over/under for Arizona at 8. I don't know how you're feeling about them coming into the season, but a lot of sports books have them at 7.5. So this one kind of jumping up a half a game here. You think over/under 8 here for the Wildcats?
Um, I think I'm gonna have to go right at 8.
I mean, and according to
um,
the sports books, that would be the over. They got them at 7.5, but CBS
yeah.
has them at
So
8.
I think my problem is that this is a really talented team that could go 11-1, but they have a brand new coach. After their coach left for Washington, so I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to win some of those tight games. So I'm going to have them right at 8. I think CBS has it right too, with exactly who they lose to.
Yeah,
Losing to Kansas State, Utah, UCF, and TCU.
yeah. I mean, I kind of look at TCU and UCF as kind of a couple of teams that, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, they have TCU as a 7.5 win team, which, like you said, puts them kind of even with what they've got going on, which would kind of go towards your close game thing. Same with UCF; they're both 7.5 win total teams here on the CBS article here. So, I mean, yeah, they're both road games, so you would probably have to tip your hat to the home team there, right? I mean, assuming there's no injuries or anything. TCU to me is kind of the biggest question mark of those two teams. I don't know how good they're going to be. I think 7.5 wins for them, depending on kind of where they're at, could be a little shaky. But I think I kind of agree here. I think eight's probably where you want to put them. They got them beating New Mexico, Northern Arizona, Texas Tech, BYU, Colorado, West Virginia, Houston, and Arizona State. Colorado, another team that could give them problems depending on how well they play. So I mean, I can see 7.5. I see why that's the line because you have a couple games on their wins that I could see going either way.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing about it is all their losses that I have here are on the road. And that's why I think that head coach just isn't going to be able to pull it off in some of those closer ones, especially against those teams like Kansas State and Utah.
Yeah, those are tough. I think those are probably for sure losses for Arizona. 10-2 is probably the ceiling in my opinion. I think that
Mhm.
11 would be exceedingly well. But 10-2 is probably the ceiling for them. I think the floor is probably 7 games. I think I could see them losing to Colorado or West Virginia. I think those two teams could definitely give them problems. Um, I don't know. Brennan's gonna have his hands full.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and that takes us to Arizona State. So talk about the other end of the spectrum here, the Sun Devils, 4.5 game win total here. I don't think that you're gonna see much differentiation between that and what the sports books have. I'm having to scroll down pretty far here to even find them. They've got them at 4.5 as well, so it seems pretty consensus that that's where they're sitting at. But the thing about this is that CBS only has them winning 3 games, so they have the under here of 4.5. What are your thoughts on the Sun Devils coming in?
Ooh. um, 3, maybe 4 wins. They might pull it off against Levy at Mississippi State. I don't see Levy being great as a head coach. Um, So I could see them pulling off the upset against Mississippi State, maybe 4 wins. I'll take that. I'll take 4.
Yeah, I mean, their schedule is kind of tough, right? I mean, you look at the wins that they have listed for Arizona State, Wyoming, Texas State, and BYU, and we already know Wyoming's going to be tough. We know Wyoming's going to be tough. Ask Texas Tech if
Yeah,
Wyoming is tough. Now, granted, that is a home game for Arizona State, but Peasley's still there. This is still a decent Wyoming team, so don't sleep on them. To Sun Devil fans, you could be taking that for a big fat L. Their losses they've got are Mississippi State, Texas Tech, Kansas, Utah, at Cincinnati, at OSU, UCF at home, at Kansas State, and at Arizona. I think you're right about Jeff Lebby. I think he's got a tough situation on his hands. Obviously, Will Rogers now the quarterback at Washington, so you don't have his talent behind center, so that's definitely a problem for Lebby right now. Kansas super tough, Utah super tough. Cincinnati is a team that I could see them possibly having a fighting chance because, again, that's one of those where the talent gap is not very wide, and you have that on the road, though, and I think that's why they're giving Cincinnati that win. I think I'm kind of with you. I think 4 is probably the ceiling here for them. They just don't have it, and when you lose your talented young quarterback, and you've got Sam Leavitt as your starter now, they're in trouble.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They're a terrible team, but I could see them pulling off an upset. But they could also lose to Wyoming, like you said. So 3
Take the under. That's all you have to do.
floor 2 wins, ceiling 5 wins.
Yeah, I mean, ceiling is definitely 5. I think the ceiling is 5. I think you have to take the under here. If I mean, I know the money is tilting towards the under, but I think that it's just obvious that this team just doesn't have it this year.
Yeah, they're just not there.
Yeah, short and quick and to the point. Baylor's next on the list here, and you know how much I love Dave Aranda. I love Dave Aranda. His bald head gives me life, and his defense is usually pretty solid. I think that, and the Bears are one of the tougher teams in the Big 12. They're going to give everybody a fair shot. They've got some good transfers coming in. They have offensive linemen coming in, defensive tackle coming in to supplement some of their holes. But it's like, they're on the edge, right? This is a team that's on the edge of a bowl berth here. They're still not in the topper end of the conference.
Yeah, exactly. So CBS has them at 5.5 wins. I'm gonna take the under at. Yeah, I'm gonna take the under at 5.
Yeah, the books have them at 5.5 as well. I think 5 is probably it. I think I would take the under here as well. They have wins against Tarleton, Air Force, BYU. They have Oklahoma State as a win, TCU as a win, and Houston on the road as a win for the Bears. A lot of those on the win column here on CBS, those are tough. I mean, winning at home against Oklahoma State, not going to be easy.
No, not happening.
I would say that's probably not happening. They have losses to Utah, at Colorado, Iowa State as a loss on the road, at Texas Tech as a loss, at West Virginia on the road, and a home loss to Kansas. I'm agreeing with every single one of those losses except for maybe Iowa State and Colorado. I think you could probably switch Colorado and Iowa State from the losses to the win column and then put Oklahoma State and TCU down at the losses column if TCU plays up to par, because they're kind of on that same level as Baylor. They're not going to be great, but they've got some solid talent, and I think that could be one of those coin toss type of games.
Yeah, I agree. I think exactly what you said. Colorado, Iowa State, replace them with Oklahoma State, TCU. There's no shot to beating Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean,
it's that simple.
That puts them at 6 wins according to CBS. They got him as the over here, and I like the over here. I think Dave Aranda's got this team ready for a 6-win season. But like I said, I don't agree with the wins they've got, but I think 6 wins is probably more likely than 5. I guess you could possibly lose a game to a BYU. I mean, they're not supposed to be great. I mean, but you're at home for that. You shouldn't lose that. Air Force and Tarleton are gimme wins. I mean, 6 seems plausible.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, they're gonna be sweating, but they're gonna be tough. They're not.
I think I don't know if they beat Iowa State.
Yeah, it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that game. I think even Texas Tech. I don't think Texas Tech being a loss doesn't surprise me. I think they're going to be pretty decent. I think that right now what you're seeing from CBS is they're favoring these home teams over people that are traveling on the road if they have the same win total. They're just kind of giving that home field advantage uh, to them. So I think that, I don't have much argument. I think Oklahoma State's probably a loss, but I think that's the only thing I have a problem with.
Yeah. Uh, that's the glaring issue with me is the underrating of Oklahoma State.
Yeah. So and that leads us to the Stormin' Mormons of BYU. The Stormin' Mormons. Look, man, they got their win total at 4.5 here on CBS. I and that's what it is across the sports books as well as 4.5 here. CBS is taking the under with their only 3 wins being Southern Illinois on the road against Wyoming and Houston at home. I think people are sleeping on Wyoming. I don't know. Traveling up to Laramie ain't easy. I mean, I think that might be tough for BYU. They have losses on the road to SMU, Kansas State at home, at Baylor, Arizona at home, Oklahoma State at home, on the road at the Bounce House at UCF, on the road against Utah, at home against Kansas, and they have BYU losing on the road to Arizona State. Uh, I like. I mean, 3 wins seems a little harsh for me. I think this is a 4 or 5 win team. I
You
really
think
do.
this is a 4 or 5 win team?
Yeah, I think this is a four or
Who do they
five.
beat?
I think they got Arizona State. I think Arizona State's going to be garbage, so I think I would put that as a win. I think I would throw SMU in there as a win. I don't think SMU's that good. I
Oh
think I
no.
think BYU can beat them. I'm not on my high horse about SMU. I don't think they're scrubs. They gave OU quite a game last year. I'll give them that.
Exactly.
But I don't
It's
know,
the
man.
Bible Bowl.
Yeah.
I think this is a personally. I think this is a 2 win team.
Oof. Yes, Southern
I
Illinois and
think they're losing to
Houston.
Wyoming. I think they're beating Southern Illinois, obviously, and then they're beating Houston. I don't see anyone else that I think they beat.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe Arizona State,
yeah, I mean, I guess just pick the under 4.5. I mean, I think they,
obviously.
I think they could. I really think they could probably beat Arizona State. I would give them 4. If I was picking an exact number of games to win, I would say 4. If I was bold, I would say 4 and say Arizona State tack it on there. Um, I think they somehow get 4. If it's not Arizona State, it's SMU. I don't know why I don't like SMU. I don't know why I'm sitting here trashing them because uh, if I am correct, I think they're supposed to be pretty good with Preston Stone back there. I
Mhm.
think I think they're supposed to be pretty decent. They've got them at an 8.5 win team through the sports books. I mean, they think they're going to be pretty good in the conference that they're in. I don't know how they would do against Big 12 teams, but this is a BYU team that doesn't have an offensive playmaker. That's the big thing for BYU. No offensive playmaker, strictly just a defensive special teams kind of team, and you don't win a lot of games with that kind of makeup.
Yeah, exactly. They have no one special.
And so someone's going to have to step up, and not that it can't happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but right now, without any evidence to prove it, it's going to be tough going for the Cougars.
All right. We got Central Florida.
Yep, Central Florida, the Golden Knights back up to bat here. They've got the over/under at 7.5 here on CBS. Where do they have the Golden Knights throughout? They have 7.5 throughout the sports books as well, so no differentiation there. They have wins posted here on CBS against New Hampshire, Sam Houston State, Colorado, Cincinnati, BYU, Arizona, and on the road against Arizona State, with losses at TCU, Florida on the road, at Iowa State, at West Virginia, and home against Utah. So right now they've got them at 7 wins, is what CBS has. So they're saying pick the under. I kind of like the over here for UCF. I think they are one of the
I
dark
like
horses
the
in the Big
over.
12.
I think they're beating TCU. I like the over.
I mean, and Florida. I like them to beat Florida. I think Florida's
Yeah,
terrible.
Florida's trash.
I mean, we've discussed how bad Florida is when we talked about Miami and them matching up week 1. We talked about how Miami should win that game. Um, and I don't have a problem with KJ Jefferson being the new quarterback at UCF. He was good at Arkansas, just didn't have a team around him to really carry them. Their defense was horrendous, and I think UCF's got a better defense than Arkansas does. So I think that kind of leans in favor of UCF improving to where they were from where they were last year. And I mean, I like this as a 9-win team. I think this is a 9-win team. I think this is a possibly 10-win team. I think they could beat West Virginia on the road. I think they can. I think West Virginia is a good team. I think they play really well at home, but there's just something about UCF where I just think they've got it going. They had a lot of close losses last year and blew a lot of leads. I think they were just trying to get over that Big 12 hump, and I think they will.
Yeah, I think you're talking playoff potential here.
They would have to win the conference, in my opinion, to get that nod. I don't think you can finish second or third in this conference and sneak in. I think there's
You
just
can finish second and definitely get in.
Yeah, you can finish second, but I don't know if they're going to be.
I think you finish second, you definitely get in.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have like 2 undefeated group of 5 teams or something like that, something crazy would have to happen for 2 Big 12 teams not to get in. But I think I have UCF finishing top 5 in the conference. I don't think they're going to be playoff bound, but I think 9 wins will get you from the outside looking in. I think that there's 2 teams in this conference that I feel pretty strong about making it over them. So I think they're just going to miss out, but I think 9 wins is probably good. I mean, they only have them winning 7. I think they win 2 more. I really do.
I think, yeah, probably TCU and Florida. I don't think they beat West Virginia, so I'm going to stay firm at 9.
I mean, I said 9. I said West Virginia would be. I mean, at Iowa State, is Iowa State really that good? I mean, like that's a loss.
Matt Campbell.
Yeah, man, you're on the hot seat. But I mean, I think, yeah, that's. I don't know. 9. Just say 9. It's just 9. It's 9. 9. Pick the over. Go against
definitely
CBS.
over 7.5.
Yeah, over 7.5 for sure. Cincinnati next up to bat. 5 wins is what they've got them at there in Cincinnati. If I'm looking here throughout the sports books, I think they probably have them at 5 as well. I would be surprised if they didn't. Boy, I'm not finding the Bearcats on here. Oh, there they are. If I got them at 5.5, so they got the Bearcats at 5.5 throughout the sports book. CBS has them at 5, and they've got them winning 5 here on the website. They've got wins against Towson, Pittsburgh, at Miami of Ohio, Houston at home, and Arizona State at home. For the Bearcats, they've got their losses being on the road at Texas Tech, on the road against UCF, on the road against Colorado, West Virginia at home, at Iowa State, at Kansas State, and TCU at home. It seems to me like CBS is in love with Iowa State. There's a lot of losses that the teams are having to the Cyclones. Is that something I should be worried about here?
I don't know. I think there's probably given the nod to coaching for Iowa State in most of these closer cases, especially when the win totals are close. But I think, yeah, it looks like Iowa State's probably going to get like a 10-2 record or 9-3 according to this.
Yeah, from what we've
I haven't
heard,
even looked at Iowa State yet.
Yeah, we'll get there, but I think that, I mean, to me, it seems like their number is going to be pretty high considering how many teams we've listed thus far that have losses to them. I mean, I think we've listed them 4 times as teams losing to them, so I think that's at least 4. I mean, seems like they have them at least finishing in the top half of the conference here on CBS. Do you have any problems with any of these losses? Because the only one that really sticks out to me is that Iowa State loss. I think the other ones seem pretty reasonable.
Maybe Texas Tech?
Yeah, maybe Texas Tech. I mean, those are kind of the 2. I mean, they've got them at the over 5, but they only have them winning 5 here. So, I mean, I guess they're expecting, I think 6 wins is probably fine. I have 6 wins, play bowl game team.
Yeah. I could see 6. I'd probably stay at 5.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the sports books have them at 5.5. So you're still saying under as far as 5.5
Yeah,
goes. I think I would pick the over here. I think that they probably get one of these two, either Texas Tech, Iowa State. They could even probably beat. I don't know, man. Cincinnati's just kind of mid. TCU at home as a loss. Again, that's another team we've seen quite a bit through these teams as far as tacking up losses. So maybe they have them at 6 or 7 as well. It just seems like they don't have an identity right now. And if they can beat Pittsburgh though, that'll be big for them. I think that game is kind of the big one to circle to get them off on the right foot.
yeah, yeah. I think so, but um, definite losses here to I think Colorado, Kansas State for sure. Probably definite to West Virginia.
Yeah, I think those three are for sure losses. I don't think you can debate that. I just don't think they just don't have the talent, especially from last year to this year with all the turnover. I don't think they've got it. I think this is a team that is going to step backwards from last year. So yeah, I think that's pretty solid. Um, all right, this is our last team for halfway point here. It's
Nice.
Colorado. It's Colorado. So they've got them at 5.5 wins, which is a win better than they did last year. Um, you take a look at the sports books for Colorado, and I don't see much discrepancy. I don't believe. Where are they at? Why are they at not at the top? I'm surprised they have them. Oh, there we go. Yep, 5.5 as well. Throughout the sports books, they've got Colorado beating North Dakota State on the road against Colorado State. They have them beating Baylor at home, Cincinnati at home, and Oklahoma State at home. But they have them losing to Nebraska, UCF, Kansas State at home, on the road against Arizona, on the road against Texas Tech, home against Utah, and on the road against Kansas. Um, According to CBS, this is one of the hardest teams to project where they're going to end at the end of the season here. Do you have any problems with looks like they have them beating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams, so they've got the under 5.5 here. You rolling with under 5.5 for the Buffaloes?
Man. I think I'm sticking with 5. I have a problem with the wins and the losses in this article. So they have a win against Baylor. I already said earlier, I think Baylor beats Colorado. So go ahead and get rid of that for me. I think Colorado probably beats Arizona. I think I said that earlier.
Yeah, on the road in Tucson, trying to put them a little bit. That would definitely knock Arizona for sure off of their high horse. I lost at Nebraska is wild. I mean that to me doesn't seem right after beating them last year as handily as they did. I don't know if them being on the road changes much. I don't think Nebraska's going to
Raiola?
be very good. Yeah,
Dylan Raiola?
yeah, maybe is he better than Sanders though? I mean that's I think
Did you see the gameplay?
I mean, hey, I think Sanders is a better quarterback than him, but for a freshman, I think he looks pretty good.
At home though. That's
Yeah,
that's my thing. And
yeah,
Nebraska's a crazy place to play.
yeah. I mean, win against North Dakota. I mean, a win against Oklahoma State at home also questionable to me. I don't know if they've got that
That's
in
not
them.
happening.
I don't think that's happening. I think you could replace that with probably Texas Tech. Um, if you say you want to switch the wins of Baylor and Oklahoma State with Arizona and Texas Tech, I'm not mad at that. But I think it's more.
I
I think
think I'm only taking Texas Tech there though. So I think I'm going 4.
you think Arizona is one of them though.
No, I think Texas Tech is one of them.
Okay, so you're changing your mind and not thinking Colorado is going to beat Arizona.
Yeah, no, I don't
Okay,
think that
okay,
anymore. Because
yeah,
I went
yeah.
back and I looked at Arizona and I was like, no, I don't think that. I think they do beat Colorado. So
Yes,
I think you take out Baylor, you take out Oklahoma State, and you put in Texas Tech as a win.
I'm putting in
It's a
Nebraska
4-win
too.
team.
I'm putting in Nebraska. I freshman quarterback, one of the first games of the season. I don't like it for the Cornhuskers. They usually choke that off. They usually choke that off. I mean, It'll be a
He's a
close game.
5-star. He's
It'll be a
different.
close game. It'll be a close game. But I think that the difference is going to be Colorado just having a little bit more talent than Nebraska as an overall unit. I think that's the thing. And again, I think this is one of those games that CBS is giving to Nebraska because they're at home.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Colorado doesn't have an
that
offensive line. I'll give you that.
I think Nebraska's in a very, very hard place to play, and I think that Colorado's going to have a tough time there. I still don't think Colorado has a ton of the pieces, or at least has developed them very well, at least from what I've seen. They lost a lot of games last year.
That's 8.
I don't know what's changed.
What's changed is they're having to build their offensive line from scratch, just like OU has, and they have a first-year offensive line coach.
OU has had like 1 3-star on the O line, like in the last like 5 years. We've never had to rebuild our O line.
All right, I guess that might have been too harsh of language, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like they're having they weren't able to protect him last season. What makes you think they're going to be able to protect Sanders this year? That's my biggest thing about Colorado. If their offensive line is going to be trash booty hole, then yeah, they're a 4-win team. But I think that if their offensive line can gel by the middle of the season, and they're like 3-3 by the middle of the season, I think they can get 3 more. I think they can get 3 more. But it's gonna take some doing.
I guess Travis Hunter's not going to be hurt. Theoretically, so
yeah. I mean, under 5.5. I want good things for Colorado, but this, I mean, last year I took the 7, and that bit me in the ass. I thought when they had Stanford down by 28 that was going to be win number 6, and I was going to be elated that they were going to at least maybe get 1 more. But that offensive line killed me all season, just letting people just get to the backfield and not giving Sanders any time to do anything. He was exhausted by the fourth quarter 90% of the games. He's been running for his life the whole game. I don't think having a brand new offensive line is going to change that unless they were getting 4 or 5-star guys, which I think you and I both know that probably isn't happening. But I think that, man, it's just the Texas Tech game and the Nebraska game. Like, I fucking hate those games. I mean, they're on the road, I get it, but I just don't think that those teams are better than them. I just don't. Even with a 5-star quarterback up there at Nebraska and being on the road and that place being absolutely sold out, you know it will be. Nebraska loves to fold in those positions. I mean, this is the year they're not going to fold. I mean, I get that you don't have a guy that's going to turn the ball over 5 times and a half, probably, like that happened last year where they can't even handle a fucking snap. But it's just like, I mean, because Jeff Sims is terrible. I'm sorry, Jeff Sims was awful. It's just, I mean, Colorado loves those early season matchups. They just love them. I don't know. I think that,
dude, this Colorado team is all hype. Pretty much, they were 4-8 last year. They're going to go 4-8 this year because
overall in the game. They're an 84 overall.
Colorado State. If I'm Colorado, I'm happy if I beat North Dakota State.
I'm worried about that game. I think that's going to be a tough win for them. I think they're going to win it, but I think that game's going to be last second bullshit. I think that North Dakota State's going to take them for a ride. You know they're going to take them for a ride. So yeah, they better be ready for that.
Might beat them.
I think the scenario in which Colorado State beats them is if that game against North Dakota State is that close and takes that much out of them. If the emotion is high and they barely squeak by North Dakota State, they're losing on the road. Colorado State, they're losing that game. I mean, went overtime last year. Like I said, that game was close. They probably should have lost that game too. I'm not gonna lie, they should have lost that game. They didn't, but they should have. And so starting 0-2, very much in play. But I think that I would much rather take Colorado State and North Dakota State to beat them than I just don't trust Nebraska. I don't trust them. Prove me wrong. If they beat them by like 14 points, Nebraska's good, I guess. I mean, they're going to finish in the bottom half of the Big Ten.
Colorado's bad.
Yeah. Give me the under 5.5. God damn it, they suck. Why do they suck so bad?
Suck.
They look great. They look great, but they suck.
And photos.
Yeah, they look great. It's
and photos, not film.
Just keep flashing that ice. I'm all
right. They have 2 NFL players.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if Nebraska has one. I
They have a better overall roster and arguably better coaching staff.
Oh, the coaching staff. I mean, Matt Rule, you kidding me? The guy's great. I think he'll have him ready. Yeah, it's a brutal schedule though. They do not have an easy schedule. Though that's a rough schedule. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody in their position at least with a new offensive line. Whoo, bad. So yeah, I think Colorado's kind of in trouble there. So there you have it. There's the front half, Zach. So right now, any surprises for us? Really, is there any team that stood out to you that seemed to be kind of underestimated? I know that both of us kind of talked about uh, possibly Baylor being kind of underestimated, and possibly even UCF. Um, those teams still look like they could be better than at least what the spread is on their win totals.
I think so.
Yep, I think so too. All right, well that'll wrap it up for episode number 70. Catch us for episode 71 for the bottom half of this, and for us here at St0ner Sports Podcast Studios. I'm Will, as Zach. Stick on the ice.